We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Christian has never been to an IMAX theater. There aren't any in his area. However, there is one in San Jose, a short 200-mile drive. Does he live in Mexico? Where does he live? Like, what's 200 miles away from San Jose? Oh, San Jose.
Well, you can go north.
I was thinking San Diego for a second. Now, understand, Christian, I grew up in Manteca. Now, I know you know where that is because you live in San Jose. So, Manteca is where I grew up. I spent, that's what I spent all my formative years there. I worked at the water slides that used to be there aren't there anymore. Anyway, so I've dated girls from San Jose. I used to drive to San Jose quite often to go visit said girls. And by the way, every single girl in your town is nuts. They're all crazy. San Jose chicks are nutty. Nutty as a fruitcake. Sorry, I'd hate to be the bearer of bad news, but those girls be crazy.
Quite a broad brush to be painting.
It's they are cray. That's what the kids say. They say cray. I just learned that from a 16-year-old the other day. Anyways, San Jose is short. Maybe it's San Jose, Mexico. Anyways, a short 200-mile drive away. He has a close friend who lives in San Jose, and Christian could drive to out to see his friend and see an IMAX movie at the same time if it would be worth it. Dude, I have no idea how cool your friend is. I mean, is your friend cool? Because I would drive 200 miles to see a friend right now. I mean, there's been times I've considered going to Vancouver to see or wherever you are. Vancouver, right near that area.
Very close. If you know Vancouver, then you'll be in the ballpark.
There you go. And that's like all the way, like literally, like I'm in the penis.
Yeah, that's almost as far as you can go with the
of the United States, and he's way on the other side, up in the north. I've been to Vancouver before, which, by the way, is completely full of yuppies. See, there you go. I'm just spreading the love around today. Okay. After a little research, he's become aware that there are many variations of IMAX, and since he has no personal experience with any of them, just reading about the differences can be a little confusing. What should he be looking for in an IMAX theater to ensure the best experience?
Yes. So there was this whole thing that people dubbed LIMAX at one point, because IMAX did come out with digital IMAX. And they allowed existing megaplexes to just retrofit their existing theaters, as long as they required them to have stadium seating, but that was it. As long as you had stadium-style seating, they allowed theaters to take their regular, normal megaplex type cinema, install one of their IMAX digital projectors, and call that an IMAX theater. And people were like, "No, that is LIMAX." That's what they dubbed it. So that's what he's afraid of. He doesn't want to go all this way, get excited about seeing IMAX, and then end up in a LIMAX theater. That's the worry.
Well, San Jose is a huge city. I mean, there is no way that you cannot find an actual IMAX, like true IMAX theater there. I can't imagine why. Really?
I looked at this list. So Wikipedia actually has a great list of all the IMAX venues, and they also do a pretty good job of describing. Now, they have as their default digital IMAX, right? Because there's way more of those theaters in the world. So that's their default. And then they will mention if it is a 70 millimeter, that means the actual full-on original 70 millimeter film IMAX. And right away, there's a big difference there. The original film had a 1.43 to 1 aspect ratio. All right. It was basically the shape of your old television, pretty close to it. Right. Whereas digital IMAX has a 1.89 to 1 aspect ratio, which means it's a lot closer to your HD TV shape, right? It's pretty darn close to that, just a little bit wider than that, in fact. So there's a big difference there just in the shape of the overall screen, and then real IMAX had you sitting considerably closer to it. Because if it's one of these retrofitted theaters, you're sitting quite farther away from this more rectangular screen. Original IMAX had you closer to a much more square-shaped screen. Now, there were the theaters, because almost all IMAX locations aren't using film anymore. So there were the ones that have the more square-shaped screen with the closer seating distance. They converted to digital, but those will be listed as dual projection. They have the capability of being either the original 70 millimeter film or same screen, same seating, but using a digital projector. Then there is the newest one, which is IMAX with laser. And if you can get that, go to that, because that is the original screen size, the original seating distance, but using these new dual 4K laser-driven IMAX projectors, along with their own immersive 12.1 audio system. That's IMAX with laser. If you can get to that, because that's like cream of the crop. But otherwise, if you want the original experience, you're actually now looking for one of the ones that's listed as dual projection. I'm lucky where I'm living. I have two of those. They've converted over to using digital projectors, but it's still the original screen and the original seating distance. Most other places that say IMAX are digital IMAX. It's the more rectangular screen and the farther seating distance. It's not really the original IMAX experience. So unfortunately, I looked up the ones that are in San Jose, and I believe, I'm going to scroll down to it here, but I believe they only had one that was the true IMAX.
The Tech Museum of Innovation one.
And that, yeah, that, like, yeah, okay, so that was what they used to call Omnimax.
Yeah.
Which is a different thing. That's like
it's like wraps around you almost.
Yeah, it's not quite a full hemisphere, but it's almost a hemisphere. Wraps around. That's a completely different thing. That's IMAX Dome, what they used to call Omnimax. So yeah, I'm not actually seeing one in San Jose. These are just two AMC theaters that were retrofitted. So that's going to be digital IMAX. It's still good. But it's not the full IMAX experience. I can't say it is. It's not the huge squarish screen with the close seating distance. It's not that.
I'm looking around. I'm trying to remember which of these cities are close to. It's very hard for me to remember close to San Jose. Now, San Jose is not that far away from San Francisco. So if you're in if you're in San Jose and you could get to San Francisco, and that includes like all of the stuff around San Francisco as well, you can certainly. You can certainly find something there. I'm looking around here in RPX dual projection.
Yeah, we'll have a link to this, avrant.com, in our show notes. We'll link to this Wikipedia article, or you can just search for a list of IMAX venues over at Wikipedia, and this will come up. And yeah, it's pretty much all the ones in the world, and you'll see there's a ton of digital IMAX theaters. Not so many of the, what people would call true IMAX theaters.
Now, that's what you're doing to ensure the best experience. So, right. But if you're going to go there to see your friend anyway, seeing an IMAX, at least you're guaranteed having, like, I mean, I went to see, what was it the other day, the new Star Wars movie, and I was like, Rogue One, I was like, the sound was just, ugh. It was.
And they say IMAX really monitors their theaters, even the ones that were retrofit. They really monitor it. They do daily calibrations at IMAX. That's part of having the IMAX name on there. You still have to do that, so you are guaranteed a pretty darn good picture and sound, even if it isn't the huge screen and the close seating distance.
Okay, so it still might be worth it. You at least are going to have a good.
Yeah, San Francisco has an IMAX with laser, so if you can go there, that'd be cream of the crop.
Used to be the Grauman's Chinese Theater, Mann's Chinese Theater. Now it's TCL Chinese Theater. That's the only place in San Francisco I would go to see a theater, go see a movie, anyways.
Well, this is actually different. This is the AMC Metreon.
Oh, San Francisco. I was looking at Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Francisco.
Yeah, you're right.
Los Angeles has the
Sorry,
Mann's Theater.
He says he's realized that his original subwoofer budget of $300 wouldn't get him much, so he's decided to take advantage of Best Buy's 6 months with no interest offer to up the budget a bit to $1,000 or less, and less is better.
Right.
So what should he buy? Do we remember what size his room is, Christian?
So Christian was that fellow who sent us that short video that one time he was upgrading his front speakers, had the home theater in a box thing that he was upgrading.
Nope. It's not
so it was. Bell. It was a bit open to the upstairs, and it is open to his kitchen, although his kitchen wasn't huge. But he's coming from a home theater in a box.
Right, so everything's going to be an upgrade.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just pick the SVS that looks like it would fit in your room, basically. And
I mean, for $1,000, you could get a pair of PB1000s.
That is true, if you can fit them in his room. That's what it comes down to. For $1,000, can you get those at Best Buy for $1,000 as well?
You can.
All right.
Yes,
well then,
it's the same price.
If you can swing that, that would almost certainly not only be something that would be good for your room, but be good for your next room as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with that. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.